Next on Investigative Report.
The science of love. Learning to let go of the past and forgive. In committed relationships, we sometimes say hurtful things and do damaging actions that we wouldn't consider in other type of relationships. But what if healing doesn't mean ending the relationship? What if it starts with forgiveness? Join us now as we reveal the compatibility science to relationship longevity. And now, the science of love. Learn to let go of the past and forgive.
Welcome to part 4 and the final part of the science of love. Tonight we're going to learn how to forgive one another. This final section represents agape love, which signifies unconditional, sacrificial love. So in part 4 of the science of love, we will explore what it takes to make a relationship last, just as the vows say, until death do us part. If you've ever been in a relationship that lasted only a day and no further, it may indicate that your brain did not experience the activation associated with eros or ludus love. So ludus is another love, and that's the love of when you flirt with one another, which sometimes dies in a relationship. So if you're with somebody and this did not activate, that's the first step. If a relationship had good physical chemistry but lacked communication, it suggests that you were not philia compatible. So we have to be compatible at different levels. Furthermore, if neither partner developed the ability to forgive those who have hurt them in the past, let alone forgive each other, you cannot expect a long-term commitment from a purely erotic relationship. So, as time passes, physical attraction, as I said before, will diminish, and the ability to engage in physical intimacy may wane or become medically impossible when you're a much older person. This underscores the core relationship longevity. You will not get from erotic love to a death do you part relationship with just that. It's not possible. Many young people aspire to have a lifelong marriage in their old age, yet they often pretend not to need it. You see it all the time. You frequently hear young men and women declare, I don't need a man, or I don't need a woman to ruin my life. I'm glad being single. I'm just improving myself. However, in private, they may cry, be in despair, or wish for a partner beyond just a fleeting encounter. So after a while, one night stands will not be enough to make you feel good inside. As a matter of fact, it will kill your heart. This brings us to the last level of love, the highest form being agape. Now in Greek, agape refers to a type of sacrificial love where you prioritize the needs of others such as family above your own. Husband to the wife, wife to the husband. It represents a selfless, unconditional love that persists regardless of whether you receive love in return. Whether your partner has been difficult for a week or unkind for a time. Agape love can forgive anything, including past wrongs, name calling, where you curse each other out and call each other negative names, or even infidelity. It's the only love that forgives infidelity. Now, although agape love is recognized in the Christian Bible, its origins predate Christianity by about 1,000 years. The agape portion of the mind, which represents the spiritual or divine aspect of our consciousness, activates specific areas in the brain, including the medial prefrontal cortex, the parietal cortex, and the nucleus accumbens, which when you experience the state, you're in the agape love phase. You can share this profound feeling with your family during festive occasions such as Christmas or Thanksgiving, or during spiritual religious gatherings, as long as those gatherings embody unconditional family love. Some people have bad families and that won't activate. Then a religious portion of agape love is misused. It shows up in the form of people attending church and taking on the same negative attributes they were supposed to leave behind after leaving the church. This, more than anything, is responsible for children seeing their parents as phonies because of the way they act behind closed doors at home and how they behave in public when somebody can see them or in church. Now, these double standards do more than anything to drive children away from religion to spirituality, and from spirituality to secularism, and before finally making their way back at old age. This love damage at home actually makes people hate God because agape love is connected to a higher entity. So if they feel their parents are phony, they feel that entity is phony as well.
You're watching MNN, the men's channel.
Now, agape love in relationships where two people have to learn what real forgiveness is, like represents the highest form of the game of musical chairs, where only two participants have withstood the test of time. This understanding bond is akin to a rare chance of one sperm meeting one egg. You have a 1 in 500,000 chance of this type of relationship. Now, the beautiful thing about agape love is that it is a profound concept that embodies the power of the universe or divine entity. You see, agape love often comes to us in the form of a partner who matches the emotional wounds we experienced in childhood. That's right. Now, they actually help us heal, and they were sent to us, but we don't know that, nor do they. Now, I'll explain this concept further. But let me begin by starting and telling you that these individuals are sent to us for a limited time, just long enough to aid our healing. Now, if you need 5 years to let go of the pain from your childhood, your partner will have the capacity to endure that pain while most others will walk away from you, completely walk away. However, now I caution you not to extend this healing process beyond the time needed, as they too will eventually feel the need to leave you. Remember, the responsibility for healing lies with you, not with them. So if the universe gave you that person for 5 years, don't take it 5 years and a day. So that's why you have people that love you despite your character, despite your messed up, despite your anger, despite your lack of love, because it was sent to you. Now, I promise to elaborate on how your soulmate appears in your life to help mend your emotional wounds. Now, don't expect him to show up as an angel, because the universe or God or whatever you believe sends someone who resonates at the same level of love where you experience injury. That's how they're sent. This means that if you're wounded in the realm of eros love during your youth, say at home or someplace else, the universe will send you a highly erotic person. If you were hurt in the area of filial love, you might find someone who is friendly with everyone, and you're not. If you struggle with self-worth as a child due to your parents' lack of affection for children, you may be paired with someone who loves children and wants many of them with you. Even if you don't share that desire because of your past. Now, lastly, if you suffer from a lack of agape love in that home, never knowing true forgiveness from your parents or sacrificial love in your childhood, you'll be sent someone who embodies that love. Now, as we're sent these people, they eventually will chafe on us, okay, because we've never seen that before. We sent something to heal us where we're injured, but we've never seen that. So initially, we may doubt these individuals, thinking they are insincere, because we have never encountered such love before. Remember, seeing your parents as phonies. For those of us who can overcome our reservations about agape love, we can rise to the occasion and love our partners as they need to be loved, while also nurturing our children as they require. So, one part of your healing means you have to rise to a certain level. You can't stay there and wallow for 30 years or until the day you die because something you went through. Unlike your parents, you can rise above that challenge. Now, as I mentioned earlier, agape love, as discussed in the Bible, concerns the love of God has for humanity and the love we are supposed to share with one another. It is noteworthy that the church is often high on the list of divorces.
I hope y'all don't mind if I get a little loose.
Hey, pour the deuce out.
I don't know why they acting like they don't know. Let's go. Can't nobody hold us down. Can't nobody take my crown. My mic, my light, my sound. What you talking about? I run this town. Invincible like rocket. Can't name none of one of y'all stop me. Or not me. Or rock me. Just sit back and love me. Chop me. If you hear me and you feel me, let me hear you say who rock the best. You rock the best. Thank you. If you hear me and you feel me, let me hear you say who rock the best. You rock the best. Gratitude. If you hear me and you feel me, let me hear you say who rock the best. You rock the best. Right on. If you hear me and you feel me, let me hear you say who rock the best. You rock the best.
When dealing with couples, I always had a specialty I enjoyed. I explained to them that this universe gives us two major points in our lifetime to forgive before we leave this rock. Now, the first is during childhood at the age of ownership. So when the first time you have something that's your own. And the last time is a great hurdle as individuals to you as your fingerprint. So specific given to you. And a lot of people fail the test, sometimes straight to the grave. So let me give you an example. The universe gives you 2 times in life to learn how to forgive. The first time is when you are a small child. Say you're the age of 5 years old, and your friend takes your toy and he breaks it. Or they take your candy and they eat it. Now, at that time, a child looks at their friend and they say, I forgive you. So you pass the first test. So everybody in life passes the first test of forgiveness. That's the easy one. And then the universe gives you the most difficult lesson in forgiveness in your life. So where you were hurt as a child, the first time you were hurt, some people were hurt in a bad home, the way they were raised. Some people were not raised at home. Some people were touched at home or by a family member. And some people went through other bad situations. So the universe gives you that situation. And between that time it happened to you and the time you leave or pass on, you have to learn how to forgive. So it's easy to forgive the child that stole your candy. It was easy to forgive the child that damaged your toy. Little child's cute. They say, I forgive you. But the challenge is when you have to forgive somebody who hurt you as a child, between that time and the time that you're not here no more. And it's the most challenging time. As I told you, I've never met somebody with an adulthood issue. Most people I met had a childhood issue and they weren't willing to let it go. They couldn't let it go. Every time they let it go, it would grab them and bring them back again. So remember, the universe gives us 2 chances to forgive.
You're watching MNN, the Men's Channel.
As I conclude this report, I hope you have understood through these 4 episodes that while we may start our lives surrounded by many people, we often end up with just a few close friends and family. An important memory I have from my wife, who even reminded me of this back in 2023. And it was a beautiful story, like I said. I have been married to my wife for 36 years. At the age later in her life, she developed cancer. She and I have fought that battle together for 8 long years. But 4 days before Christmas in the year 2023, she died of cancer. She died laying right beside me. But if anybody's lived with somebody with cancer, you know that they slowly lose their faculties. In the last 3 days of their life, they're barely comatose. But one day in the last 3 days, she sat up. After that, not being able to say anything at all for 3 days, she turned to me and she said, Charles, you were right. She says, you look to your left and right, who do you see? Now, she was saying something that I told her when we were young. We married when I was 20 and she was 19. So we were married 36 years. She was reminding me of something I said. I told her back then, I said, when you start elementary school, you have a class of 32 friends. In that school, total school building, there may be 6,000 children. And a lot of them, let's say, they're your friends. By the time you go to high school and college, you may have experienced 20,000 people in your sphere that could have easily been your friends. I said, but friendship is not real like relationships, those 4 levels. Friendship is only proximity, what's known as proximity friendships. So somebody's your best friend here. If you move out of town, you don't see each other no more. So that's proximity friendships. But what I was saying to her is that by the time you're an older person, you can look to your left and your right and see who you see there. Where are the friends who said that we were blood friends? Where are the friends who said, I will be there no matter what happens to you? So we start in elementary, 32 people. By the time you pass, you may end up with just your spouse. If you did a good job, you have your children. A better job, grandchildren. But if you believe in somebody who says they're just your friend and that they'll be there for a lifetime, that's not the same as a real committed relationship between a man and wife in marriage. So I hope you learned something from all 4 episodes. You need to start a relationship with Eros, but check the person out. See if you have communication. That's for Leah. You don't just have friendship with your same-sex friend. You can have friendship with somebody. Communication is natural. All you have to do is apply everything you know how to use with your same-sex friend and use it on your mate. Now, I don't mean if they're a woman you have to go with them when they get their nails done. Those things can be farmed out to their real girlfriend. If you're male, I don't mean that you have to go with him just because he goes fishing. Those things can be farmed out to his male friend if you don't want to go. It's your choice. But everything else is negotiable. A lot of couples struggle, like I said, because they only know eros love. But friendship love is natural. It's in the brain. The brain is activated. Stop being enemies when you're with each other. Next, storge level. Make sure you fix yourself and your relationship before you have children. Because otherwise you have situations where you want to divorce each other and you fight over custody. Child's not a play toy. That's because there was never no storge love where this is both of our children. Children are not the entire relationship. The relationship is first. Then they're the children. Because the children will leave and start their own family. Remember? Therefore man shall leave his father and mother, cleave unto his bride, and the two shall become one flesh. So you're raising somebody who's going to leave you. The marriage should be there forever. So marriage is first, children are second. No matter how society says it's in the reverse. It's not true. So if you cultivate a good storge level of love, when your children are born, you can treat them well together. They get the chance to know what a mother is and a father is. Now, if you want to know what a great relationship is, most great relationships are opposite. So most people are attracted to the opposite. Now, this means that for a good relationship to last, there must be a parent who's justice and a parent who is mercy. Now, historically, the males have been justice, females have been mercy, but there's interchangeable in homes. Some homes are different. By this, I mean, you have a male, when the child does something wrong, the male says, we should punish them, we should spank them, or something like that. Mercy steps in and says, no, we should understand them and let them go this time. They didn't know what they were doing. So when mercy steps in and says that, justice changes its mind. And you have other instances where mercy is there and it's wrong, and justice steps in and mercy changes. You say, yeah, this time the child should be punished. So the child gets a chance to see society, what society, just like the court system, represents a justice and a mercy. There's no all justice and no all mercy. Now, I've discovered in my education that if any home is all justice or all mercy, it will be a very demonic home, community, or wherever you have it. It's going to be a horrible place to live. Why? Because kids that have all mercy turn negative. Children that have all justice turn negative. I'll give you a bigger example. If you have what's called low-income housing, that has an entire community with single moms, since the female represents mercy, the entire community represents mercy. Those children think they can get away with anything. There's no justice around, so they try to get away with anything. In fact, those children end up dominating the mother, and they end up becoming the mercy, and they dominate that community, and it becomes an unsafe community. Now, opposite side. Too much justice is just as bad. So you have a home where the father's too strong will, or a better example, a male prison. It's a lot of justice in there because it's all males, which leads to fights and that sort of thing. It's demonic. That's all justice. It ends up being difficult. So in every home, you need a balance of justice and mercy. There's no that men are perfect. There's no women are perfect. You have to learn to work together, which is storge love that leads to agape. So I hope this series has helped you. Have your friends watch it. Have the girl you're living with watch it. Have the guy you're living with watch it. You need 4 loves. The human brain does change no matter which environment it's in. When you go in front of somebody you think is romantically attractive, your brain changes. You change. You start preening yourself and hope you look good. Hope this person likes me. When you go around the next level of your friendship, you don't have to do that. You and your friend could sit around dirty, smelly, watching TV, eating food all over yourself. You don't care. Friendship love is different. In another environment, storge love, you could raise your children You can love your children, but you don't have to worry about the erotic level. If you're respectful, you don't have to be your children's friend, because that won't lead anywhere fast. So that's the storge level. We change when we go to agape level. You want to see somebody change and they're messed up? Let them walk into a church or some place where everybody is spiritually thinking. Or let them walk at home to their parents' house where their parents were decent people. Watch them change their attitude before they walk in the door. So we change based upon who we're around, not because we're just faking it, because the brain actually changes based on the environment of the humans it deals with. So make sure you do those 4 loves with one person, because it's only possible one person. We thank you for watching Investigative Report. There is a book, the Red Book. I wrote it personally. I invite you to go out and buy it. It extends what I've taught you here, because you need an overall training before you get into a relationship with anybody. From Investigative Report, we thank you for watching. Good night.
I wanna take it back, but I can't. I wanna leave it behind, but I can't. It's not easy to love it, darling. It's not easy to love it, darling. I should've left you in the moment. I should've told you all the problems. It's not easy to love you, baby. It's not easy to love you, baby. It's not easy to love you, baby. You just run, you don't talking. Don't wanna be behind you, baby. Behind you, baby. Let it go, let it go, let it fly. It's not love, it's not love, it's not the time. Let it go, let it go, let it fly. It's not love, it's not love, it's not love.
And we're clear.